It's another week and yet another Commanders 7-round mock draft here on the Commanders Report. We got my 7.0 version here, and of course, it's going to include multiple trades for the burgundy and gold here, adding some draft picks, making some kind of twists and turns along the way. I had a lot of fun putting this mock together, guys. And of course, my rule, and this is going to be the last mock of the draft season where this rule applies. No repeat picks from previous mocks. The reason for this rule is that every time I do a mock, and we do one once a week during draft season on this channel, is so that I can put as many potential Commanders draft targets in front of you guys as much as I possibly can. I don't want to keep recycling the same players all draft season long because that's not good for you, and it's not good. It's not fun for me either. So it challenges me. It's fun for you guys because you get to see new prospects every single week. So we got a good crew of players to talk about today, and this is my last mock draft before the final mock draft that will be released next week, where I can recycle players, and that is going to be my official prediction for the Washington Commanders in the 2025 NFL Draft. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already to never miss any of our draft coverage for any offseason that the Washington Commanders have. We're going to give you guys 24/7, 365 coverage on the burgundy and gold every single day for free. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button to never miss a moment. Now hold on here. We're starting this mock draft here, and my phone is ringing. All right, and it's the Cleveland Browns. And the Cleveland Browns want to move up to our first-round selection at number 29, and this is the offer that they put on the table. They want Brian Robinson Jr., all right? And in exchange, they're willing to give up their second-round pick this year at the top of the second round at number 33, so you're only moving down a few spots. You also get their fourth-round pick at number 104 overall, and you also get their sixth-round pick this year at the end of round 6 at pick number 216. So I'm actually going to accept this right now. And now we're at the top of day 2. You know, night 1 is over. We've had the night to rest and to think and to take on all these different trade offers at number 33. And once again, my phone is ringing. All right, so we're going to double move down here in this mock draft. And this time, it's the New Orleans Saints also looking to trade up for a quarterback at the top of the second round. And in exchange, you get an additional third-round pick to add to the picks that you already got from the Cleveland Browns the night before. So you get a bunch of new picks to work with here if you are the Washington Commanders, and you move down and you take a player that you really like anyways, and it's going to be a day 1 starter to protect your franchise quarterback. At pick number 40, I'm going to take Donovan Jackson, the guard, out of Ohio State. Now, of course, Jackson, he's got some experience, a lot of experience playing left guard, but he also has experience playing left tackle. He played left tackle for the national champion of college football last year because Josh Simmons, another left tackle prospect in this year's class, went down with an injury. So Jackson is more of just a true, rock-solid guard prospect in the National Football League who's fantastic in pass pro, and I think he can start right away and upgrade the left guard position over Nick Allegretti. You take a look at the offensive line situation here in Washington. You got Laramie Tunsil, who you traded for. He's excellent. You got Brandon Coleman and Andrew Wiley that looks like they're going to be battling it out for the starting right tackle spot. Sam Cosmi is dealing with injury issues with that ACL tear. It's unlikely he starts the season ready to go. So either Coleman or Wiley is likely going to start there week 1. You got Biotish at center. And then you got Nate Herbig, who you brought in free agency. Nick Allegretti was your starter last year. But I think that when you have a guy like Jayden Daniels, the number 1 priority has to be to protect him and to give him a better run game. The way you do that is you build up and you upgrade the offensive line. Donovan Jackson can start for this team day 1. I think he's an excellent player, and I think it solidifies this offensive line even more. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. Type those me's in the chat if you haven't already. And then also, let me know down there in the comment section, would you be happy with my double trade down scenario here for the Washington Commanders? I trade down with the Cleveland Browns. I trade down with the New Orleans Saints as well, and I still get a really good player that can help this team win right away in Donovan Jackson at number 40 overall. Simply give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section if you would be happy with that double trade down scenario. This will be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or a no down there in the comments. Then in round 2, I'm going to get one of my favorite wide receivers in this entire class to bolster the wide receiver room here in Washington with Trey Harris out of Ole Miss. Now, Harris is going to give Daniels another true deep threat. And, I think he's going to give him someone to really grow with in his NFL career. They're both going to be on rookie contracts together. And hopefully the hope here would be that Trey Harris becomes your true number one receiver once Terry McLaurin's next contract ends up, finishing up. I do expect the Commanders to give McLaurin at least a 3-year extension this offseason. So you've got Terry for at least the next 4 years. But Trey Harris is the type of guy, in my opinion, that can really be a great complement to Terry on the outside in this offense, all right? Like Debo and guys like Noah Brown, he is a big body. Terry McLaurin is no runt himself. But you got a guy in Trey Harris here where if you take a look at his production, like he was even more productive than Matthew Golden out of Texas, who played double the amount of games he played last year. He had more receiving yards than Golden had last year. And by the way, like that Texas offense, it's dynamic. You got Sark calling the plays. You got Quinn Ewers throwing him the football. There's other receiving threats on that Texas offense to draw some of the attention away from Golden. Trey Harris, of course, is in a great offense with Lane Kiffin there at Ole Miss. Jackson Dart throwing him the football, but he had more catches, more yards, or more than double the yards per game than Matthew Golden had, and almost the same amount of touchdowns in half the games he played. So he is an absolute efficiency monster. And if you combine him and his deep threat ability, and then I think he's an underrated route runner, I think if you combine him with Jayden Daniels, I think that you're going to combine for one of the most dynamic wide receiver quarterback duos for the next decade in the National Football League. So that's why I pulled the trigger on Trey Harris here in round 2. Then in round 3, let's go offense here. Cam Skattebo, running back out of Arizona State, somebody that I think is a perfect fit for what the Washington Commanders want to do on offense. They want to play, tough. They want to, play in the shotgun, and they want to have their number one running back be able to catch passes out of the backfield because, of course, you got Jayden Daniels back there that's a little bit of a dual threat. That's what they want from their running back, and Skattebo can do all those different things. All right, the only 2 running backs in college football over the last half decade that has a higher missed tackle rate than Cam Skattebo, 2 guys, Bijan Robinson and Ashton Genty. It's pretty good company right there because he's got incredible contact balance, great lower body strength. He's got really good foot quickness for somebody of his size, so he makes people miss in space. He's a phenomenal route runner. He's got great hands as a receiver. He's got everything you want except long speed, which is why he's going to go in round 3 here instead of round 1. If he had 4.4 speed, he would be going in the first round. He's that good of a player. And when you look at the running back room here, guys, it's not anything to write home about right now. And, Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler are free agents next offseason. All right, so you got to plan for the future. I don't think this team plans on signing Brian Robinson Jr. to a massive contract extension. I don't expect Eckler to be playing football for much longer. So here with Skattebo, you get somebody, and of course Brian Robinson we traded away to the Browns earlier in this mock draft. Skattebo can come in right away, be your number 1 power back, your every down guy, and then you got Austin Eckler as a really good change of pace guy as your number 2. So really like these 3 offensive picks for the Washington Commanders. Well, you're probably sitting at home right now saying, Jack, what about defense? We need defensive players. Well, hold your horses here. I'm going to get to the defense here in just one moment. We got my day 3 draft selections for your Washington Commanders coming up here in just 1 second. But before we get into those, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Game Time. And the NBA playoffs are getting started. And if you want to experience the energy and the stakes of playoff basketball, you can get great seats at guaranteed low prices with our friends at Game Time today. It's free to download the app, and Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier to any event you attend. Save up to 60% off by buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and even hard-to-get playoff seats. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. Guys, the Washington Wizards suck, and they have sucked for a very, very long time. So if you want to go see actual playoff basketball, you're going to have to go to the Mecca, New York City, to go watch it. The New York Knickerbockers have locked up their spot in the NBA playoffs, playing against the Detroit Pistons in the first round of the NBA postseason this year, and you can experience their playoff run in the weeks to come from historic Madison Square Garden in New York City with guaranteed low prices from our friends at Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. It's just for that first purchase, guys. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So here in round 4, I'm going to go get a designated pass rusher to replace Dante Fowler Jr.'s role in this defense immediately, and Josiah Stewart out of Michigan, who I think is one of the most ready to play out of any edge rusher in this entire class. Now, he's undersized, and he's not much of a run defender because he doesn't have a lot of the physical tools that you need from somebody that's going to play on early downs in the National Football League. But I think he's got an incredible array of pass rushing moves that he's extremely refined in. Like, it looks like he's been in the league for 3-4 years at this point. That's how refined he looks as a pass rusher. That's exactly the role that the Commanders need from their edge rusher heading into the season, all right? Like, right now you got Dorrance Armstrong and Dietrich Wise and Cleveland Ferrell, Jacob Martin. Those guys can hold up on early downs, and they're bigger bodies, but they're not going to get after the quarterback. Not the way that Josiah Stewart can. He can beat you with speed around the edge. He can beat you with finesse moves with his hand-fighting ability, and then he's got some pretty darn good speed to power as well for somebody of his size. So I think that he can give you exactly what this defense needs right now, which is true pass rushing threat on the outside on 3rd and longs, 2nd and longs, 3rd and mediums, pass-heavy situations. That's what Stewart would be playing in. And even though his upside's a bit capped because of the measurables he brings to the table, he's already got NFL polish, and that's what the Washington Commanders need now that Dante Fowler Jr. is once again a Dallas Cowboy. So now I want to address cornerback, but there's not, any corners sitting here in round 4 that I feel like can play for this team right away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send one of the Commanders' 4th-round picks to the Green Bay Packers, and I'm going to trade for Jair Alexander to play alongside Marshawn Lattimore on the outside. Now you might be saying, but Jack, Jonathan Jones signed here this offseason. Well, it's a 1-year, $5.5 million deal. Definitely not anything that's not replaceable. And then also you might be saying, but Jack Alexander is always hurt. Well, although that's true, I think that, he's exactly the type of player that Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. want in this defense. He's physical. He's feisty. He's phenomenal when he's on the field. Every time, he's been on the field in the NFL in his career, he's been a top 30 graded corner in all of football. And this is a win-now season, guys, plain and simply. And Jonathan Jones did not have a good season with the New England Patriots last year, all right? I think that this group could use the help of another veteran corner. And for a 4th-round pick, this is not a pick where if you take a corner here at this selection, they're going to help you the same way Jair Alexander, one of the best corners in football, can help you. And hey, if Alexander can't stay healthy and he can't stay on the field, you got a guy in Jonathan Jones who you already trust to play if that's the case. This way, you injury-proof your secondary, you get some fantastic depth that you can use, and it's going to keep you ready for postseason play no matter what happens in terms of the injury statuses of your starting cornerbacks next season. So now let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. A win-now move to go get Jair Alexander and pair him up with Marshawn Lattimore and create a truly, potentially dangerous cornerback duo here in Washington. And all it costs is a 4th-round pick. Give me an A if you accept this one, or D if you decline it. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. I think that this would be a fantastic move for the Burgundy and Gold. So here in round 6, I'm going to take somebody that I think is one of the best true strong safeties in this class. And it's Hunter Wohler out of Wisconsin, and he's a big body, all right? He's not the most athletic guy in the world. He's not going to play free safety. He's not going to play deep, or he's not going to play nickel corner. He is specifically built to play the strong safety, box safety type of role that this defense desperately needs. All right, Jeremy Chin played this role last year. Dan Quinn is known for running a lot of single high safety coverages, and he likes to put that additional safety in the box. And Will Harris, I appreciate the versatility he brings to the table, but I don't think he's going to be that thumper that this defense traditionally needs. And I think that Wohler is the type of guy that absolutely can. He's got great size. I think he's got pretty decent coverage chops for how relatively tight he is as an athlete. But hey, man, a true box safety doesn't need to be crazy athletic like Jeremy Chin. You just need him to do his job right. And there at Wisconsin, he was one of the best true strong safeties in the entire country. Because, not a lot of defenses in the NFL run true one high safety type of defenses nowadays. It's a lot of 2 high safety coverages and defenses and stuff like that. Wooler's not going to fit in a lot of schemes, but he does fit with the Washington Commanders. So you can get a really good player at a value here at a position that this team desperately needs, especially on early downs. All right, if you want to put Will Harris in there as kind of another split safety type, when you go to your too high safety stuff on third down, fine. But you need to have your run stuffing, kind of bigger, strong safety in the draft this year, and I think Wooler is the best value at the position. Then in round 6 at 216, I'm going to take Jack Kaiser, linebacker out of Notre Dame. Great high character guy, reliable tackler, reliable in coverage. He's not going to blow you away with the measurables or the combine testing, guys, but he's somebody that's a good football player, plays with good instincts, and he's going to be coachable. He's going to be great for the locker room. So, with Bobby Wagner, kind of, heading towards the sunset of his career, it'd be nice to get another player in here to learn from him and potentially develop into, hopefully, a future starter. Then in round 7, I'm going to take one of my favorite sleeper receivers in this entire class, Jordan Watkins out of Ole Miss. All right, and, as one of the lead NFL draft analysts here at Chat Sports, I have a lot of film that I got to watch on any given year. And, of course, I'm watching Jackson Dart because, it's my job to watch quarterbacks. And I watched this game against Arkansas, guys, in week 8 last year. And this number 11 guy had 5 touchdowns and 254 yards and averaged almost 32 yards per catch. And I said, there's no way this guy is draft eligible this year because obviously he'd be all over everybody's boards. But no, he is draft eligible. And right now, he's not even expected to be taken in any of the 7 rounds of the NFL draft, according to the NFL consensus big board. This guy's absolutely a sleeping giant waiting to be taken in the 7th round. You take a look at his stats just last year, almost 50 receptions, all right, almost over 900 yards receiving. He averaged almost 20 yards of reception, so he's a deep threat, and he had 9 touchdowns. I mean, granted, almost half of his touchdowns for the entire year came in the Arkansas game, but he also added another 2 in the bowl game against Duke as well. And then you look at the physical profile, and you must say, well, Jack, he must be just a terrible tester. Now, he's a little bit undersized, but 196 pounds is not that small, and he runs a 4.37. So he's got inside-outside versatility. He is a deep threat. He's a good route runner with solid hands. He's got the production that you look for. I don't understand why this guy's not getting more hype. Maybe because of all the other Ole Miss players that are in this class, and he just gets outshined by them. But this could be an absolute steal. This is my second Ole Miss Rebel wide receiver I'm taking here. I think he could be a great addition in round 7. So that's my mock 7.0 haul. You get Donovan Jackson to be your new starting left guard, Trey Harris to be your hopefully future number 1 receiver to work alongside Jayden Daniels for the next decade. Cam Scatabo as your new starting running back. Josiah Stewart as your new designated pass rusher. Jair Alexander, using a 4th-round pick to get a guy as good as Jair Alexander. I think that's a steal. Then you get your starting early down strong safety in Hunter Wooler. In round 6, you get Jack Kaiser, somebody that I really believe in terms of a high character guy. Also in round 6, and then Jordan Watkins, one of my favorite sleeper receivers in the entire class in round 7. So grade my mock draft this week, guys. A, B, C, D, or F. I did some maneuvering here, multiple trades, a lot of fun putting this mock together. So let me know what you guys think about it down there in the comments section. Of course, next week I've got my final Commanders mock draft on this channel, as well as all the extensive draft content that we have for this football team next week. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, hail to the Commanders.